The great shepherd leader of the Wildcats.
Oh yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Carson Palmer for the Cardinals.
Carson Palmer's went to USC.
And what does that stand for?
University of SoCal.
All right. You're a good man. So if you had to have your parents fix your favorite meal for tonight, what would it be? What's your night before the game meal?
Night before the game? It's a hard one. Either steak or spaghetti.
How do you like your steak done?
Medium well.
Medium well. I think that's the universal.
I think so. Yeah.
That just kind of rolls off everybody's tongue. Medium well. Nobody ever goes burn in.
Nah.
So what's been the funniest moment in the huddle this year so far?
Funniest moment in the huddle. I lost the cards.
Oh.
I had to run the sideline.
Lost the wristband, huh? Did y'all ever find them?
Huh? No, we didn't find them.
So there's a gopher out there stealing your cards?
I think so. It's popping out of the turf, yeah.
Stinks the worst in the huddle. Which lineman gives off the most the most smell?
That's a good question. You should ask Dalvin.
Dalvin?
He'll probably give a better answer than I will.
I'm gonna go with Weddle or Trayvon.
Weddle or Trayvon?
Weddle has some nasty ones.
Yeah.
Really nasty ones.
JB's clean.
Yeah, JB's a pretty boy.
He's kind of like
He's
kind of like Shaq Cool.
Yeah.
I think he could be heard anywhere in the universe, don't you think?
Yeah.
Any part of the solar system.
It's pretty loud.
You know Kuzak's coming from anywhere. Kuzak?
How you doing?
All right. Doing all right?
Doing all right.
You got your sunscreen on today?
You know, I didn't put it on yet.
Uh-oh.
No, we're getting ready to go in pretty quick, so I'm probably just not going to do it. I haven't seen this one yet.
Fort Wayne 10 Cups minor league team.
I like it.
Got to support the minor leaguers.
Is this their hat, too?
This is their hat, too.
So, man, I like it. You've always got the combination working. That's what I like about you. You've always, if you got the shirt on, you got the hat
to match. Got to match up. Hey, what's up, Prophet?
How you doing?
Bringing the fire tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
How much fire? What's the temperature going to be?
76, I think.
Yeah. What's up, Pat Pine?
Nothing. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's up, President?
Good.
What's happening?
Good.
What's going to be your slogan when you run for president?
If you want to win, put president in.
Oh, there you go. All right. So this is Garcia right here, my favorite Garcia in the whole wide world. So Garcia, tell me something you did good today.
Something I did good today.
That was encouraging to somebody today. What did you do that was good today?
Well, I went and ate lunch with my little sister today.
All right. Had lunch with his little sister today. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, my man. Wildcats. We're more than just football players.
Yes, sir.
We eat lunch with little people. So do you get to? Do your teachers let you use those in the classroom for tests?
Probably not. Haven't tried that.
You haven't tried that?
I'd go with a no.
You could say it's just a habit from practice. So what's your favorite part about Friday nights?
The atmosphere, probably.
The what?
Feels good.
The atmosphere?
Yeah, just everything. What about you? How's your heartbeat get during games?
Dude, I think it's probably twice the rate.
Twice the rate?
Because I'm excited to watch y'all play every Friday night.
How's it feel to be all access?
How's it feel to be all access? I feel defiled. Or whatever that word is.
We'll cut that part out.
Okay. See, I think Coach White has a different coach voice when he's on the field than when he's on the sideline.
It's true. It's true. It's a little deeper.
So when he's over here, he sounds normal. When it's out there, it's
yeah, he kind of gets that grumble in it.
Yeah. He's got the Vince Lombardi voice out there on the field. Over here, he's kind of got his fiance's voice. So I've never seen Coach D with colored socks, dark socks on. He's usually got white socks.
He's got the black socks on today.
He's trying to look fast.
It's shocking.
I think he's trying to look faster.
You got the black socks on? No,
White.
You're not trying to look faster?
I'm so white and slow. Hey, you look faster in your dark socks.
They say that slows you down.
Well, I think you look faster.
I guarantee I beat you in a race.
Well, you should. But if
I will
I
whip you right now.
right now, what do you like best about your quarterback?
Probably the fact that he's such a good leader. You know, like
he's a good leader.
yeah, he's always looking to boost us up. You know, at any time. Like the other day we were against Park Hill South. We were having a little trouble. You know, and he came over there and talked to the guys, stuff. So yeah.
So has he bought you a new watch or a car yet for a good block?
No, not yet.
All right, so we're waiting on that.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been asking this. Which lineman in the huddle smells the worst? What's happening? You guys ready to roll tomorrow?
What's up, Joey?
Ready to pound the rocks into pebbles?
Yep.
What's up, JB?
How you doing?
Doing well?
Yes, sir.
So what are these? Dominate? That goes with the football. What's the pink one?
It's a little power balance band.
Yeah? What does that do?
It's just more of a mind thing, but I had to keep it on. Helps you with your balance, I guess.
All right. So it keeps you kind of like good dance moves?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can cut a rug.
Cut a rug? All right. All right. That's good.
So what are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the toughest bird on the planet today. You know what the toughest bird is?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out today.
Okay.
All right. This is Coach John Wooden of American high school football. Legendary.
Let it be known.
The man, the legend, right here.
No. Let it be known that Joey and I one time played handball,
And I beat him.
and he whipped me.
I beat
You
him
remember
bad. Beat him like a rented mule.
He did. I had no chance.
So-
I thought I was more
so-
athletic, a little quicker, definitely lighter.
Do not let looks ever deceive you.
Yep, I got whipped. I got whipped by the old man. Are you giving some good wisdom today to some of these young men?
Not really. This is kind of on the spot, so this may be the most boring episode of Hard Knocks.
Dalvin, come here. Have we had Dalvin on yet?
Dalvin's been on a little bit.
We got to
not
give
much.
Dalvin some wisdom.
Yeah.
Dalvin, on the camera, we need to just talk about your inability to ever have a meaningful conversation with a woman.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Joey's here to explain how you're able
Give me
to,
some
down the
tips.
road,
Yeah.
if there's ever a girl that you like, how you're
Okay.
able.
So we're gonna work on pickup lines.
All right.
So give me your best pickup line for a girl, Dalvin.
There's a couple.
All right. What
I'm
are
gonna
those?
have to go with if you were a booger, I'd pick you first.
That's good. That's a good start. All right. Now give me your other one. Well, then we'll rank them.
You can fall off. You can fall out a tree. You can fall off a building, but baby, the best way to fall is in love with me.
There you go. Those
That's
are
a
pretty
good
good. 1D, the dominate side. Coach Kramer.
Yes, sir.
We have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So for on camera today, we need to know. We need to know the tradition. Why you're such a Buckeye fan?
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Born and raised in the
So-
great state of Ohio.
So what do they give you that makes you a Buckeye fan when you're raised?
Pride.
Oh, okay. So
He says, you come out, you have to be a little different.
that could go so many ways.
I know. Did you learn something?
Yeah, I learned that the media is a lot harder than you think.
Tom? Humble? What else? How else would we describe Joey? Come on,
Encouraging.
Encouraging.
Round.
Did you say round?
Round. All right. So, hey, what did we talk about last week? What was the object lesson? The top button. We talked about the top button, getting the top things right. Right, about grading out well. Remember that? And we gave it to who? Gave it to the president because he was going to award who got things in the top order this week. Is that right? You got the button, President? Yeah. All right, so the president's going to come up. He's going to make a presentation from what he observed this past week about who did the top button right this past week. So come on up, President. He's going to award the top button this week. And tell us.
You talk first, or you just give it to him?
Well, either way. Go ahead. Do both.
All right. Well, Friday, you all know somebody had a great game on both the offense and defensive end, and he has done pretty well this week from what I've seen. And that person is Kobe Bissell.
All right. I'll give a big hand for Kobe. All right. Okay. So Kobe gets the top button for the week. So Kobe, what it is, your responsibility this week is to look around through the week on and off the field about who does the things right. Because if we get the top button right, everything else lines up, correct? Is that how it works? So how do you feel about getting that award there from President? The President gave out the first top button.
I feel honored.
Feel honored. All right. There we go. All right, today, so what you're going to be looking for this week is on and off the field. For next week, you're going to be looking to who can I give that out to, who does the top things right. All right. This week, we're doing the subject of toughness. Now, when you think of toughness, you may think of all kinds of things, but one of the things that goes down in history as one of the toughest birds of all time is the pelican. I don't know if you know this or not, but like if you go look in art and 8th and 9th century stuff, you'll see that the pelican was in a lot of artwork because it was seen as the pelican was one of the toughest creatures there were on the face of the planet. Now, how many of you, if I would have said, list your top 3 toughest creatures on the face of the planet, how many of you would have come up with pelican? Anybody would come up with pelican? Probably not, okay? Let me tell you a little bit about why the pelican is sometimes called one of the toughest creatures that there are. Now, it's not because it's pretty, because when you look at the pelican, it doesn't look very pretty, does it? The pelican is not the prettiest bird in the world. But this summer, I got to spend 5 weeks in South Carolina, and I got to see a lot of pelicans every day. And I got to study the pelicans, and they're pretty fascinating creatures. And what I found out was these dudes are some bad birds. All right? Let me tell you a little bit about them, about why they're called some of the toughest creatures on the face of the planet. Did you know that some pelicans, when they're flying, and they're flying close to the water, and they're feeding, and you can see they have a big mouth, that they can scoop up to 3 gallons of water at one time. 3 gallons of water. Imagine you walking into this room, and you're thirsty coming off the field. You can take, all of a sudden someone can pour 3 gallons of water into your mouth, and you're sifting through this, searching for food to eat, to not only feed yourself, but to feed your young. That's pretty tough, don't you think? I mean, imagine just think of the weight dynamics of all of a sudden you're cruising along, and all of a sudden someone throws 3 gallons of water into your mouth. How you could tumble through the air and all the dynamics that could happen with that. But the pelican is a pretty tough bird. But why it's really called one of the toughest birds in the world is this, that a pelican, especially a mature pelican, when it has its young, it has to feed its young. And sometimes trying to find food can be a scarcity. Now, you see, the pelican has a beak. And why the pelican was sometimes called the toughest bird that there is that when it can't find food, what it will do, it will take its beak, it will press its beak into its chest and rip out its heart. Not its heart, but its flesh. It will take out parts of its flesh, of its breast, of its own flesh and body, and rip out parts of it and just rip itself apart to feed its own young, to keep its young alive. That's pretty tough, don't you think? That's why it's called one of the toughest birds in the world and one of the toughest animals in the world, because not only to allow its own kind to survive, it will sacrifice itself. It will sacrifice its own heart and its own flesh and blood for it to live. That's pretty fascinating, don't you think? That's pretty tough. And I wonder tomorrow night, when you come up against some tough situations, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? How tough will you be to give of your heart and soul to help your team win tomorrow? What will you give? How deep will you reach in and rip out part of who you are to allow your team to win, to help somebody else have the strength and power and nutrition and encouragement and inspiration and motivation to make the play they need to make? Does that make sense? I mean, the pelican is not selfish. And then one of the reasons why in the 8th and 9th century it was put on a lot of artwork was because in that day and time in history, people were looking for examples of things we could look to that would inspire us and motivate us to live like that. You know, most of you know that I'm a minister and I've studied the Bible and things like that. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about the Pelican, it reminds me of what Christ did in our life. That he gave of his life for us on the cross. That he gave of his life, his flesh and blood, so that we would know how to live properly. That he sacrificed so that we would know how to live. And there's people in your life that have sacrificed. Think about your mom or your dad or a grandparent or an uncle or a friend that has sacrificed for you. Maybe they worked a second job. Maybe they did something you didn't even know about. And they reached down deep and they gave of themselves, and it hurt because they wanted you to have success and have an opportunity. Tomorrow, what it's going to take on that field is going to require some toughness, and there's going to be some times where you're going to have to just kind of just reach down and go, just way deep into your heart and soul and go, okay, what can I give tomorrow to help motivate my teammate? What extra do I have to give that allows somebody to go further? Yeah, what's it going to cost me? What's it going to take? It may not look very pretty, but it works. And the Pelican, tell you what, man, it has a lot of respect down through history because it's one of the toughest birds that there is. And it's had an imagery for a long time that when you may go, well, they may not win a beauty pageant or anything, but when you look at the Pelican, you go, man, look at that thing. I mean, it'll take in 3 gallons of water to kind of sift through trying to find food. It'll dig deep into its own flesh. I mean, imagine that. Dig deep into its own flesh to provide the nourishment for its young to live. It's willing to sacrifice that and be that kind of tough. What are you willing to do tonight to be prepared for tomorrow? You willing to go to bed early? Good nutrition? You willing to make that phone call a little bit later today and say, hey, you know, I know you can make that play tomorrow. When we call that play we've been working on this week, man, I know you got it in you to just pancake that guy. And I'll bring the syrup if you want to, you know, kind of deal. I know you got it in you. And when the game's going on tomorrow and, you know, it may be a little warm or whatever it is, and you go up to somebody and go, hey, look, let this be the rally cry tomorrow. Hey, let's be the Pelican tomorrow. Reach down into our heart and bring what we got. You know what I'm saying? Let's rip it out. Let's rip it out and bring it all tomorrow. Be the Pelican tomorrow. Yeah, be tough. Do whatever it takes tomorrow. Whatever it takes tomorrow, we're going to be that Pelican. And you know what? And Rock's going to walk off this field not as rocks, but as little bitty, ground out little bitty pebbles that nobody sees. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to do to them tomorrow. Because that's what the Wildcats do to rocks. We pound them. We're going to be the Pelican because we're tough. Because we do things right. Does that make sense? So reach down deep in there. Think about that beak right there. You ready to reach down deep tomorrow? Be that Pelican. This program is not selfish. It's like we're talking about the Pelican. You know, the Pelican sees what needs to be done, and he reaches in and pulls out whatever is necessary. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever it takes to get there. We're going to get there because we're not selfish. And one of the visuals that comes to mind, Coach, is, I don't know, there was a picture in the program for a lot of years in the program where Gus Toka, at the end of a game, had this pose where he had his arms up in the air, and you could tell that, you know, we had won the game. I think Coach Kuzak talked about that picture a lot, about where, you know, everything he had, like the Pelican, was out of him. There was nothing else left to expend. And he's out on the field and he's got his arms lifted up, and then he had given it all. And we had beaten Rockhurst when no one thought that we could beat them. But why Blue Springs has won through the years is because we're not selfish. You know, people have talked about Bissell today, about this mental toughness, about, okay, am I in the way?
Look at this picture. We had just
There it is right there.
Overtime, and
there.
this guy was a warrior now, just like a lot of you guys. And
Absolutely.
He had given everything as a two-way player in that game. This was the 08 Rock team that they said before the season, just hand them the trophy, no one's going to beat them. And on that Saturday, we had bad weather on Friday, it got postponed to Saturday. We went in there and we had remember Coach Dave, we had 2 or 3 secondary guys go down to injuries. We had backups playing, and we were determined to win that game. And talent-wise, they were much more talented. That's not the case this year, but then that year they were. And that guy gave every fiber, like what Coach Dade read. You know, he's not laying on the field, but he was close to laying on the field that day. He gave everything.
So when you asked me that question earlier today, that's the visual that comes to mind, and that's the kind of heart of a player that comes to mind that I was talking about with the Pelican. And I don't know if you know this or not. We talk about on and off the field. Many of you guys didn't know this, but Gus worked multiple jobs to help his family make it. And I remember going in sometimes to Red Robin to eat, and that same attitude right there that was on the field in that game was the same heart and attitude that he had in a restaurant when he would carry out his job. And you'd go eat at a restaurant there, and you know, if I knew that Gus was working on my meal, it was going to be a good meal. You know what I'm saying? Because the guy gave everything he had. That's why Blue Springs wins at everything we do. It's because we're not selfish. And why we have Thursdays, see, I see it in some of your faces. Some of you go, why do we got to come in here on Thursday? Well, because you're learning about life. And you learn about life through Christ and how God has made us. And you want to know what God's like? God's like this. He gives us all to us, and he wants us to live like that for him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the best way to live. And when it's all said and done, I guarantee you, if Gus were to walk in this room today and he saw that picture, he'd have this big old grin on his face, and he'd go, oh my gosh, let me tell you about that day. That Pelican, dude, I gave everything I had, and I would do it again tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, no regrets. That's what makes Blue Springs what it is, because we're not selfish, because God is not selfish. And that's how we live. That's how we live. And it's worth it. All right? Guys?